Try and do it all in one take. Right, so here we are responding to some of the questions on Facebook. First question we got was from Paul. If I look at these posts, can I do something about the roads in Hucknall? They're a joke and they're pretty poor. So we are on with that, Paul. To be honest, we've been in contact with the County Council on a regular basis, and certainly there's been a number of potholes which we've been able to get them to fill in, but clearly they are not doing a job which is good enough. I think also there was an issue over gritting in the winter where they didn't deliver a service which was good enough. Now we're keeping the pressure on them as much as we can, and we'll continue to do that. But what I would say to you is if anybody out there sees a pothole which they know is dangerous, then please drop me an email or drop the County Council an email. We can put a bit more pressure on them and make sure they get them filled in, because they're a real danger to not only to motorcyclists and cyclists but to car owners as well. Alec from Farsfield asked, he said, I voted in favour of fracking and I didn't vote on the privatisation of the NHS. I did vote in favour of fracking. Fracking is something which I think is a good thing. I think we all like cheap energy bills, and for me, I think we're better relying upon UK gas reserves if we can obtain them, rather than from people like Mr. Putin in Russia or from the Saudis and other parts of the world which are pretty unstable. So it won't affect the amount of gas which we burn, but it will make sure that as a UK we are more secure in our gas supply. Now, of course, coming from an area like Sherwood where there's been coal mining forever and we're fairly used to getting carbon energy from below our feet, I don't think it'll be such a big issue, and we've actually been fracking near Gainsborough for over 50 years, so let's see how that goes. On the NHS stuff, there are a number of occasions where on a Wednesday the opposition get a chance to put forward a motion for debate, so it doesn't affect law, and I think the NHS privatisation one sounds to me like what they call an opposition day motion. So the Labour Party will put a motion forward just to make a political point, which clearly they did. I'm not familiar with the date of the one you're talking about, but clearly I think the NHS should remain in public hands, and I think it should always be free at the point of use, and sometimes it's the opposition making a bit of trouble and making a political point rather than actually affecting the way in which the country is managed. Right, next one was John and Karen. Can you tell me why Edwinstowe Parish Council ignored the parish poll? Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Edwinstowe politics, there was a parish poll about the management of the Allotments Association there. There was a poll which took place which said that the management should remain, overwhelmingly remain with the Allotment Association and not with the Parish Council. Unfortunately, Edwinstowe Parish Council have ignored this poll and have decided to take over the running. It is something which is pretty disappointing. I've raised this with Eric Pickles to say, frankly, if we're having polls, that they should actually be meaningful, actually cost the parish quite a lot of money to put on that poll, and then just to ignore it, I think is wrong. Now, of course, what Mr. Pickles said to me is that people should take their revenge in the ballot box and get themselves a new parish council, which of course I think is quite tempting, and that's coming up soon. But I agree. Frankly, it was very naughty of them to completely ignore the result of that. We've also got Richard from Bilsthorpe asking why has the horse meat scandal gone away? Well, I suppose good news to a certain extent, it hasn't, Richard. Where the government has brought forward a number of changes to legislation to look at the traceability and the management of what is in effect a commodity. I think the problem arose where processors, people were making lasagnas and things for supermarkets, were actually buying meat as a commodity rather than as a cow or a pig. Now, I think the retailers also take this pretty seriously as well, and there's been a number of changes in the food supply industry to make sure that this can't happen again. But I would say to consumers out there, think about where you buy your food and think about the impact of where you buy that food and what it happens to have on the global market. So, for example, we can all buy free-range eggs, but do we actually ask if the eggs in our mayonnaise or our cakes are free-range? And when we go to a restaurant, do we ask where the meat has come from? Is it local? And has it got very high welfare standards? And then finally, we've got Jeremy from Ollerton, who says, have I got any solutions to the heavy traffic on Station Road? Well, this has been a challenge which has been ongoing for a long time. The County Council made a number of changes when the Conservatives were in control to Ollerton Roundabout to try and improve the roundabout and make traffic flow a little bit quicker, but people still do rat run down Station Road, and obviously there are speed humps, but I think ultimately we have got to find a solution which makes Ollerton Roundabout, gives it more capacity, or longer term look at the option maybe of a bypass. But of course that would impact upon the shops in Ollerton if we diverted the traffic all the way around the outside. So I acknowledge Station Road is a very large challenge. I think the chicanes have helped and the speed humps have helped, but it does remain pretty difficult. Now at the other end of town we've been looking at the possibility of crossing near Walesby Lane, because as you know where the chip shop is and the newsagents, a lot of people like to stop and make use of those shops. Very difficult if you want to get across at the Booton end to get over that road as well because of the amount of traffic. So it's something we're talking to the County Council about. They're currently doing a feasibility study for a crossing there, so we're making some progress, but I think still more to be done. I hope that answers most of the questions we've got, but if you've got any more, don't be afraid to drop me an email or to drop me a message on Facebook, and we'll do this again. Thank you very much.